2 a.m. Whisper here with the light. Let's talk about Exsanguinate. So Exsanguinate got a big rework, and it's currently bugged on the PTR. I assume it's going to get fixed. The numbers here also don't make any sense, so I'm just going to talk about it pretty conceptually and like what the intention is based on what I'm reading. I'm not actually going to talk about the ability itself too much or like show it off too much because it's a mess. So, but there's two options right now. One of them will go away. There won't be two at the end. The first one is a passive. So while you're above 100 energy, your Garrote, Rupture, and Crimson Tempest will consume energy to duplicate any damage dealt. If you've watched my Caustic Splatter video, you'll recognize that this is similar wording. So 30% poison damage is additional. This is duplicate 40% of any damage dealt. Same rules apply, right? All the same rules apply. This isn't affected by mastery. This doesn't crit. It isn't a separate bleed. It won't give you energy. It's not a duplication of the bleed itself. It's just simply additional damage, right? That's how all of these effects work that are based off the damage dealt. Everything is based off the damage dealt, so this does not scale off anything, right? This does not crit, this does not get affected by mastery, because then it would double dip. So none of that. The active ability, similar concept, right? Consumes energy, deals additional damage, but this one is an instant damage, an instant cast with a 1-minute cooldown, and it lasts for 10 seconds. So I have the passive version here, which I think is the one that will most likely stay, for the record. I don't think the active is going to stay for the entire PTR. I think that's probably the one to go. And it's real simple. I guess I'll try and show it off, but it is currently a little bit non-functional. Hopefully it works for the sake of this demonstration. But essentially, as long as I stay above 100 energy... Yeah, it's not working. As long as I stay above 100 energy here, you'll see that my Exsang is doing damage. Right now it's doing about 7%, 8%, you know, whatever it is. It's additional damage. This is meant to slow down the spec, especially in like single target, in AoE, all that kind of stuff, right? If I go to a cleave dummy and I just kind of hit a Crimson Tempest, you'll see that it eats my energy, right? My energy is constantly going up, and then the Crimson Tempest ticks, and it goes back down. Right now, this effect is very overtuned. Like, it should not be eating 8 energy. It should be slowing down the spec, not, you know, bringing it to a crawl. Because if I just hit Crimson Tempest, and I take my hands off the keyboard, oh boy, my energy is gone. I can't cast anything. It's just eating. So, obviously not great right now. The balance isn't quite there. But it is supposed to slow the spec down, right? So, normally what would happen is if you're spec'd into something like IC, which we can, I guess, do real quickly. IC being Indiscriminate Carnage, you'll spread a bunch of bleeds out, right? So the idea is that if you're in stealth and you spread a bunch of bleeds, right? Boom, 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 boom. All my bleeds are everywhere. And then I might spread some more bleeds by going like this. And then, you know, spreading more bleeds, spreading more bleeds. Everything has bleeds. My energy regen, as you can see, is very high. My energy regen is astronomical, right? I'm getting so much energy back. And that speed is okay, but ideally, you would just be able to Crimson Tempest here, and your energy, for one, gets diminished very rapidly, but you're doing extra damage because of it, right? So it's a very natural way to slow down the spec in the process. Now, in the case of this, obviously, it doesn't slow down the spec, it brings it into a brick wall, it drives the entire spec basically into the ground. However, if it were to slow down properly, you would notice that pooling is a very clear intention, right? The intention of it is you pool, You want to stay above 100 as much as possible. So if I'm on single target, for example, and this were to work, which it doesn't, but I'm going to use Crimson Tempest as an example to try and make it work. So if I'm here and I'm at 180, I can cast an ability that brings me down, right? But now I don't want to be dropping under 100 ever. So I'm going to very carefully plan this out so that I don't drop under 100. Now, I would be getting more energy back than right now. Right now, I'm obviously not getting any energy back. It's meant to be slower. I'm going to repeat it a billion times. The energy it's eating is too much. But conceptually, you might be able to see the thing here, right? There's a very clear skill expression of if I'm pooling, I'm doing more damage. If I'm not pooling, and I'm under 100 energy, right? Like if I'm just spamming my abilities as much as I want, going, wow, I'm spamming. You're gonna be under 100 energy a lot, and under 100 energy means you're not getting extra damage, which means the ability sucks. So that's sort of the idea behind it. Slowing down the spec, I think, is very thematic. Assassination has always been the slow spec. A lot of people enjoy the faster playstyle. I personally don't. It's not my thing. But I think that Exsanguinate is a very interesting option to slow down the spec, add a bit of skill expression in single target and in AoE, right? So you aren't mindlessly spamming. You have to think about your energy, think about if you're going to press that button now or if you can wait, right? This is also very important for Envenom uptime, right? Like if I'm just sitting here with Envenom, and I'm spamming away, and I overwrite the Envenom instantly, and I'm spamming away, and I overwrite the Envenom instantly, I have a chance that this is just gonna not be able to extend itself. Now in this case, it barely gets there, but, you know, obviously the gameplay is there to where there's a good chance, especially in AoE, that your Envenom runs out if you're just smashing the button. Now you have to pool for uptime. You have to wait for the Envenom buff to go down until you Envenom again. So it really plays into the whole debuff mechanism, and it adds a ton of damage. So if I go back and I look at my cleave dummies, this one, for example, Exsanguinate, right now, even eating all that energy, pretty good. It's okay, right? It's okay. Obviously, tuning isn't done yet, but it'll be worth to play around, and it'll be worth trying to stay above 100 energy. So, yeah. Quick note on why I don't think the active ability will stay. I will play with it just for a quick second. The active ability is a 1-minute cooldown in a meta of many 1-minute cooldowns and many buttons. So if we were to, for example, play Mark for Death, this would basically be a 1-minute cooldown. T is a 1-minute cooldown, Shadow Dance is a 1-minute cooldown, in single target we're playing Kingsbane, which is a 1-minute cooldown. And that lines up every 2 minutes with Deathmark. So essentially every 2 minutes you'd be pressing 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 cooldowns. If you're playing Sepsis, it could even be 6, right? That's still an option. That's a lot of cooldowns to be stacking. 6 cooldowns is more than most specs have just rotationally. So I think the easiest option would just be to cull the Exsanguinate active and just keep it as a passive. And the passive is also kind of more thematic to the intention, right? The passive is controlling your rotation a lot more. It's slowing your rotation down consistently. Whereas this active, you'll find, if I just whack these dummies and get all my bleeds up, right? Whack, 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 whack. And then I get all my ruptures up as well. Whack. Oh, come on, whack. PTR is a little bit laggy. You'll have to forgive me. Hello, whack. Whack, 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 whack. Right, we get everything up. And now I'm going to get my Crimson Tempest up. You'll see I'm energy capped beyond belief, and I hit Exsanguinate, and where's my energy? Oh, it is dead. It is dead. It is gone. I can't cast anything. I'm stun locked at this point for like 4 seconds, even though I drank a tea. So it's powerful. It does damage, right? It does quite a bit of damage. It's good damage. It's an active ability, so it's a cooldown. It should be doing damage. But it is not the rotational intention of the ability. It's not in the spirit of the ability, in my opinion. The way I interpret it, the passive Exsanguinate is the clear option for like a rotational depth standpoint, whereas active Exsanguinate is just a button you hit and it stun locks you because it eats all your energy. If they tune it down, obviously it wouldn't be that bad, but I know a lot of people feel like the active is better right now, but that's mostly because everything's overtuned. I think once we see the energy come down on both of these effects, it'll be okay and the passive will be good. That's just kind of my gut, though. We'll see what happens. Again, all of this is bugged. Like in single target, the passive isn't really working with Garrote and Rupture for some reason. The numbers are way too high. 8 energy is insane on this passive. So, yeah. I don't know what else to say. There's a lot of stuff to talk about with Exsanguinate, and I don't know. I don't know. It's gonna change. I don't know. It's early in PTR. Who knows? Maybe the active stays, and it's like a 4-minute cooldown. It's possible. No clue. Anyways, hope it helped. Bye.